This video will show you how to put a Herl head on a fly, in this case a green glade. These pictures are from favorite flies and depict the very distinctive Herl head style that was employed on these flies. As you can see, the Herl points forward away from the fly and is tied off at the base of the wing behind the Herl. Herl heads are generally considered difficult to do, but this is a very simple method and it will give you consistent results. First, begin by selecting a fairly bushy, long fibered piece of peacock herl or ostrich herl. Density is one of the biggest things. You want very, very thick amounts of barbs in a very short area. That will give you the compactness and the robustness that you need in a few turns. Once you've selected your piece, you're going to want to moisten your fingers and you're going to double the herl. So you just stroke the fibers from both sides downwards against the stem so that way they meet together. You do want to be pretty slow and very gentle with this, as especially with peacock herl, it is very delicate and you can break it pretty easily. So just take your time and work your way down. Sometimes just rubbing your fingers back and forth a little bit as you go down will help to push the fibers down and align them correctly. Once the herl's doubled, you can strip off the little bit of the flue that's left near the base of the herl. And if you need to, do any little touch-up doubling. Now take your fly, and I use the gut loop to support the herl, and then I just press the herl against the gut loop so that way it's easier to hold it in place. And you're just going to want to tie it in. This is pretty well waxed gossamer. You just want to make sure it's going to stick to that herl and the herl doesn't pull out when you go to wrap it. I usually go forward and back and then end at the base of the wing. Now I do a half hitch just so that way the thread will stay right where you want it, at the just in front of the hackle or at the base of the wing. Just take your time, don't trap down any hackle fibers. Once you have it, the thread put back through the loop, draw it down. Let's go nice and slow. Now put a coat of varnish on the head of the fly. And you're going to want to let this dry till it just becomes a little bit, or just so it's just barely tacky still. You almost want it almost dry. Now slowly put your herl on. You really want the edge of the herl to sit right against each other. It's going to give you the thickness and density that you want. You'll see I'll actually let go of it here, and because that varnish is on there, it'll stay. So just hold on to that herl and bring your thread up and behind over the herl. Put a couple wraps down and really draw it tight. It's another benefit of having a heavily waxed thread. Now form a loop and do a double half hitch this time. Now this is the downside to having heavily waxed thread. can be pretty tricky to get it off your fingers to put it through the loop. Now trap any fibers down. Make sure to draw that thread all the way through before you go to stick it back through the loop again. Now let it slide off your finger and keep your finger on the back side, and that keeps the tension on the thread. And then slowly draw it down, not trapping anything down. Now let it slide in right behind the herl and really draw it tight. Trim out your thread. And then trim out the herl. Try to get it as close as you can. Now take your scissors or bodkin and just slowly roll it around through the herl, and that'll help break up any trapped fibers. And it'll give you a nice bushy head. Just take your time and fluff them all back up. That's all there is to it. It's really not a difficult method. No secrets, no tricks. Hope that helps.